Hello and welcome to another day of CrossFire West League. Only two teams secured playoffs until now, GG and ROC, and we are 3 days away from the end of the season. So like 2 more spots for the teams to fight on. A lot of excitement, a lot of action, and we're here to present it to you guys. My name is Kholia, going to be your host for tonight, and I have with me tonight Penguin. How are you, Penguin?
Everything's good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's pretty competitive, the league. Till the last bit, like only 3 days left, and we have 2 more spots for the teams to fight on.
Yeah, of course. If you compare it to the last season, when we came to the same spot right now, I guess 4 teams already secured their places. Even GV, I mean 5 teams as well. Yeah. Even GV secured 5th place. All the other teams were just fighting for the bottom 3. But other than that, everybody just secured their place. That's why this season, with the new meta, with everything shifts, and also the slow starts from the strong teams like Anubis and InnerCircle, also GG falling in the middle of the season, made the league very competitive, and everybody had the dreams to go for the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. And you were telling me, like, before the stream started, some teams need only 1 map to secure playoffs. So let's take a look at the standings to see the situations of the teams right now. GG and ROC, they secured playoffs. We have IC, PingPongPals, and Anubis. I think these are the 3 teams that we might be talking about when it comes to the other 2 spots for the playoffs, right?
Yeah, well, looking at Anubis now, the guys have 5 wins, and PingPongPals, they have 7 wins. But PingPongPals is going to be playing ROC Esports today, and Anubis is going to be playing 999. So if Anubis can get the win, and if PingPongPals loses, that makes it 1 win different between both teams. It is going to be the decider between Anubis and InnerCircle in the last day of this league. But looking at GG, they're looking in very comfortable place now. The guys kind of secured, they 100% secured their spot. Okay, yeah, maybe second, maybe third, but it's going to be so off if we see them on the third place. InnerCircle today, I guess they need only 1 map. Even if they lose. Still, 1 map makes it locked into the playoffs, and the guys did their homework, and they don't need to do anything anymore.
Yeah, 100%. And for the first match tonight, we have ROC Esports versus PingPongPals. You were saying like PingPongPals are like 2 wins away from Anubis. So like today, like if PingPongPals beat ROC, it will secure their playoffs like by 100%. A very, very high chance.
Yeah, 100%. If they get the win versus ROC Esports today, it's gonna be PingPongPals in the playoffs, and Anubis is gonna be fighting versus GG. They're gonna be versus InnerCircle. Yeah, they lost versus GG yesterday, so they're gonna be needing 2 wins, and PingPongPals needs to lose TBI's game. So now, PingPongPals and ROC Esports. Yes, ROC Esports are in first place. These guys have never lost.
Yeah.
So everybody can say, okay, it might be just an easy game for ROC Esports, and the other might say, no, ROC Esports will go just, they don't care about the match, they don't want to be showing their strategies, so they might be playing a bit easy on PingPongPals, and PingPongPals can get the win. But what I can say that ROC Esports, in my opinion, the guys want to be going into the Golden League. They don't want to give or take any, give the enemies any win versus them or take any lose in the league. They want to be winning it all in 0 loss. And looking at PingPongPals, the guys are so hyped and they played very good. And also, if PingPongPals managed to get 1 map today, that even makes it more harder for Anubis because of the set difference. Now I remember that PingPongPals had 2 set different. Anubis had -3 or -2. So if today PingPongPals get 1 set, even if they lose, but they get 1 set, that makes it even harder for Anubis because they need to beat both of the other teams 2-0, InnerCircle and 999.
And like for PingPongPals to lose the upcoming games as well, right? So like it's a very hard calculation for Anubis. But like PingPongPals, they are coming from a win yesterday against Swamp Gaming, so like they are pretty hyped up. The team, I feel like 3P and like are one of the teams that has a very, very solid mental. But like for ROC Esports, the question is, are they going easy on PingPongPals, or they want to remain undefeated? Because like I think it's pretty good. It feels pretty good to go into the playoffs knowing that like no one could have beaten you.
It's because also that all the other leagues, we're talking about Vietnamese, Chinese, Philippine, Brazilian leagues, everything, there is no team have 0 losses. So if they be able to do it, that means that they might be going to the AWC, the only uncontested and only team that have 0 losses on their league.
Yeah, it must feel good. And like for the last time these 2 teams faced in the first leg, it went 2-1. It was pretty close in the first 2 maps, but like when we went to port, it went 10-1. For ROC Esports. So what do you think about the maps? Because like last time,
they played New Mexico, and they picked New Mexico. Then they play ROC Esports left New Mexico in order to practice it.
Yeah.
But still, they managed to win it.
Yeah.
And in a good way. Okay, they won it 10-8, I remember.
Yeah.
But also coming into Compound the next game, they lost it to PingPongPals. That's what we said about ROC Esports, that they stopped practicing and improving Compound, because Compound is going to be removed after this West League.
Yeah.
So now, I think still ROC Esports have everything to do in this V2. But for PingPongPals, they need to avoid port and subbase.
Yeah.
You know, they don't need to play it. They can play Mexico, they can play Eagle Eye.
Yeah, I think whenever you play ROC Esports, you need to get rid of port for most of the
and
teams.
And subbase as well.
Exactly. So let's take a look at the map V2 to see if PingPongPals will indeed get rid of port. Yes, they will. I mean, and Eagle Eye are off the table as well.
Okay, Eagle Eye off at the table, and actually it's very good to see the ban Black Widow coming from ROC Esports. That shows that these guys are coming here to win. Also, New Mexico, they are proving that 100% they're still coming here to win, because these guys don't want to be trying or practicing these maps. Okay, maybe they're leaving these maps for the playoffs. That means that still they have two strongest maps for them, which is Subbase and Ankara. If we count, or if we like give an order for the maps of ROC Esports, is going to be Port on first, Subbase on second, and I guess third comes Eagle Eye or Ankara. Yeah. Because they pose very close games. It's actually, Eagle Eye is actually the same as Ankara, exactly the same, but just a smaller version of Ankara. So, and ROC Esports have the experience to play in such maps. So, if PingPongPals want to be winning this series, I don't think they need to be going into Ankara, because Petro have never shown success versus ROC Esports on Ankara. It's usually falling to their gameplay. So now he have a big chance, because he's going to be playing Subbase, which is actually fair. They beat InnerCircle last time they played Subbase in this game, and it was a very good game from the side of PingPongPals. The guys had very good stretches and smoking lineups for the cage, for the A-top, and for all the splits that they've done. They have a lot of fakes as well, smoking A-rocket, double smoking A-rocket, and then the kind of fake into going to woods. So they have some kind of good strategies that ROC Esports should be aware of it. But looking at their compound, lately, ROC's compound is not convenient. You're not used to seeing ROC Esports struggling on compound, because it was one of their best maps. But as I said, they kind of stopped improving compound, because compound is going to be removed. So for me, PingPongPals, this is the best V2 they can get from ROC Esports. If they be able to win it, that means that the guys just got the advantage from this V2, but still ROC Esports is going to be a very, very hard matchup for them.
100%. They showed it in every match, in every clutch, in every golden round. They always show up, all of them, the 5 players. So it's definitely a hard job to beat ROC Esports. But I want to talk more about Subbase, because I feel like recently ROC Esports are putting a lot of high priority on Subbase. Is it because they want to practice, they want to expand their pool, or do you think Subbase is already a comfort pick for ROC Esports?
100% is a comfort pick for ROC, because they know that everybody's going to be banning port for them. So they pick Subbase as their comfort pick. So now ROC Esports, they have comfort pick as Subbase and comfort pick also port. Eagle Eye counts also as a comfort pick, but most of the teams are banning Eagle Eye. So they need to have 2 of the core maps, 5 maps, to be able to compete in the best of 3s and best of 5s as well. So Subbase, yes, they definitely pick it not to practice it, they definitely pick it because they win it. So now ROC Esports want to be getting this 2-0. They want to be playing Subbase, and they want to get the win on compound, because they lost last time from compound. And I'm pretty sure that Stray is going to be doing his homework, because this guy is so nerd. He's going to be sitting on the replay of the last time, just analyzing every single mistake of his teammates and every single angle that they can capitalize on it versus PingPongPals in their matchup today.
Yeah, and this was my point. Having compound for you as PingPongPals, and last time you won on the same map as well. How can you make it? How can you secure another win on the same map? Because like you said, the enemy team will 100% be studying what you guys did last time. Do you have to shift some strats? Yes. So what do you have to do?
They shouldn't play the same, because if they did play the same, they're going to be losing this map. And we've seen it versus some teams as well, how PingPongPals played versus top tier teams and still couldn't get the win because they played the same style. So if they play the same style, which is very slow, maybe trying to finish the rounds on B side, trying to fake on mid and finish guys on B side, this time is not going to be working, because ROC Esports is going to be adjusting versus this and adapting as well. So now what they need to do is to change their play style, maybe play a bit more aggressive, maybe play a bit around Elong. We're talking about the blacklist, maybe, because in global risk you can win by defaults, and that's what we said yesterday about Anubis. If Anubis continued to play default on compound, they could have won all the global risk round versus GG. So now the same, PingPongPals and ROC Esports, they have the chance, but still the blacklist, which is the hardest in compound. So PingPongPals, they can get used of Elong because they know that sometimes Horus pushes along randomly or he gets an information. So if they be able to maybe deny this information, they will get a lot of space. And MKZ as well, if he keeps sneaking into a side, ROC Esports, A-Barn in the middle of the round, ROC Esports is not going to be leaving him doing the same as he did last time. So they need to be changing the finishing B round while faking mid. Might not work versus ROC Esports, but maybe finishing from mid to B actually from the beginning of the round can actually work versus ROC Esports, because usually sometimes they start one guy on the tower and one guy only belongs. So PingPongPals, they should have done their homework the same as ROC Esports. But why we are saying ROC Esports have the edge? Because they have a dedicated coach for such situation. Looking into PingPongPals, Petro is doing this job, but he's still a player as well.
Yeah.
So he might not have the same luxury of time as a Stray.
100%. And like you said a lot of times before, like you as a player, like you'll not be watching the game as someone who's watching from outside, right? Like someone who has the bigger picture, because like you have this like a bit of tunnel vision in game, right? Like you can't focus on everything at the same time. So like Bitro is doing a pretty good job. I mean, PingPongPals, like one of the teams that we couldn't have predicted that they would be competing in the playoffs, right? Yeah,
well, we couldn't predict that they're going to be going to the playoffs, but looking at their first game versus InnerCircle, we said these guys might be able to go to the playoffs. But after a while, when PingPongPals played other teams and they started going deeper into the league, we said that these guys are definitely the contenders and the competitors for Anubis, InnerCircle, and GG on the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of mental as well, like PingPongPals, they always impress. I mean, for me, to be honest, at first I was like, PingPongPals is all about HDZ, but like now recently, like LSY is stepping up in a lot of matches as well. I mean, Gainer, like you said, one of the most scary guys to go into, like to fight, like in terms of 1v1s.
Yes.
They have a lot of utilities, a lot of tools that they can play with, I feel like. And for ROC Esports, this team, like these guys on the screen, like they can't stop impressing us. I mean, I remember one series, like Horus and Todzin, they had like maybe even below half 0.5 KD, and they always do clutches over and over.
Yeah, well, Todzin had a very bad map, Ankara versus InnerCircle, but yet he did the most valuable clutch ever, which is the 1v2 versus InnerCircle, denying their win on overtime, getting the win, getting the comeback, and going into port, beating InnerCircle. So you don't need anything from him. The guy, if he got only 2 kills, and those were the 2 kills, that means that he won the map for you. So that's why today PingPongPals are not facing ROC Esports. They are facing a strong mentality first, then they're going to be facing ROC Esports, because these guys, you cannot break them. Even if the game is completely lost for them or the series is completely lost for them, they are still coming back somehow. Versus InnerCircle, we never expected them coming back. I expected 2-0. I was watching the game. I said, okay, it's going to be 2-0 because Ankara, it started off very well for InnerCircle and they were already winning the first map and they destroyed them on compound. But then suddenly, everything changed.
Yeah, I mean, the game is finally ready. PingPongPals versus ROC Esports. Elfish and Naz, you have the mic.
All right, thanks very much, Dusk. Yeah, and a lot of really good points into this, right? We're getting into the nitty-gritty of the season. We're pretty much almost at the end point, so a lot is kind of at stake here, Jordan. And yeah, this one with the ROC versus PingPongPals is going to be interesting just because ROC have been on such a dominant, streak right now. The question really is can they maintain that to kind of close out the season? But even for PingPongPals, like Penguin said, they just need a single map. They just need to get that on the board.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's a lot going on in this particular matchup. I think for both teams, I have a lot to kind of say. Like, I think ROC obviously would like to keep their perfect streak going. They'd like to get themselves a dub here. If it's a 2-1 dub, it probably is irrelevant to them. They don't really care. But if they can keep a clean sheet for the entire season, that's definitely a bit of a statement made. And obviously for PingPongPals, look, a map win would be nice, but even a series win would be better just to try and further improve upon their position in the playoffs. They are not guaranteed necessarily into the playoffs just yet, but they're very, very likely to make it. A win certainly would get them there. And a win would let them maybe even challenge for like a 3rd place. I don't know if it necessarily would get them into a top 2. We'd have to kind of do the math and crunch the numbers there. But yeah, certainly a lot to look forward into this matchup. And last time these two teams played, it was actually surprisingly a little closer than we thought it might be, which I think, again, could potentially be the case again today. PingPongPals are one of those kind of teams that, on their day, they can be a real challenge for some of these top teams. And I have seen some susceptibility for the likes of ROC over the last sort of 2-3 weeks, as we saw earlier on in the season as well. They have their good games, definitely, where they kind of just wipe out teams 2-0, and it's like, okay, well, that's what we expected. But I've also seen some kind of goofy stuff from ROC in this regular season here and there. So we'll see what we get from them today. I do think they should win it, and I do think they should probably do it 2-0. But I won't be entirely surprised if one of these maps does actually go the way of something else.
Yeah, I actually definitely agree. Like, and I think that's a really good point you bring up, is the fact of, ROC have they've been so dominant, but at the same time, like, they definitely show they can bleed, and they definitely have had some games where, yeah, it's been a bit questionable, and for a team at this caliber that we would really put them on the pedestal of saying, like, look, they are like the best team in the league. Without a doubt, it's definitely been some lackluster performances. But like you said, on the other flip side of the coin is that, PingPongPals, very mixed results. Had a bit of a weird start in the season, definitely have gotten better. They've been able to take some maps away from good teams. They've been able to get themselves in some distances. So it's been interesting, but we've also seen some really questionable games from them too. So we'll have to see how prepared they're going to be for this, and realizing, like, look, even a map win, like we talked about, is really the biggest thing here. Like, obviously, like, a series win would be gigantic, but again, they just need to be able to get something that can give them the slightest edge here for that top 4 spot. And I mean, right now, there's a lot of evaluating on this because they have just been burning the clock. Finally, now Horus is going to get tested, and Horus able to find himself this first, but now 3P have been able to find a little bit of an opening. There's been a crack in the defense, but it's just short-lived as Slayer just takes them all freaking away, and they're gone.
Yeah, huge spray from Slayer. HDZ going back in here. TRG gets himself a nice double. He spots out Totson as well, who wisely is not going to be peeking anymore. He knows that Snake has got his cross, so Totson doesn't really have to do anything here. They'll swing together. Well played by ROC in the end. Solid enough start. Can't really complain about that one. It was a nice 2K from Slayer. Decent effort, though, from PingPongPals, so it does give us an indication that this matchup could be leaning towards a pretty close one. It was a slower round out as well from PingPongPals, wasn't it? Definitely trying to take their time about this BL side and see what that can do to unsettle ROC in some way. Horus is going to change his position up and play close this time around.
That's the other thing too, is that, like, for this team of 3P, like, I mean, you kind of talk about star players, and you kind of need players like HDZ to get activated. You need someone like Gainer to get the rifle moving around. So if those two players can be able to find some good movement, that's definitely going to make things a lot more interesting. This isn't looking like the round it's going to be the case, but that's what we're kind of talking about in the series, where if they want to get themselves a map win, like you alluded to in the beginning, where in the past there's been some close encounters for them to get a map win, that's definitely going to be the key for these guys, and that's going to be important. Right now, HDZ does find himself a little bit of an opening. LSY too, actually, surprisingly. You can see ROC are starting to get a little bit pokey and proddy. They're just trying to see what they can get away with, but this should be a done and dusted round. Snake's just waiting on the stairwell. HDZ trying to be sneaky. Not long for the world, and there we go. ROC with a 2-0.
Yeah, there's also a 2-0 on the GR side, which I think is more important to even mention. This map typically expected to be a little BL favored. So I don't know that this is necessarily the greatest of starts, of course, for PingPongPals just in terms of the score, but when you take the context into account as well, it does make matters even a little bit worse. Machine room control established for ROC. A little bit of a battle over that. LSY going to be going down for 1. ROC do take the position, so ultimately they come off better for that engagement. HK is going to be the option of choice for Snake in the long term. So he'll back out, and it is going to take PingPongPals a bit of time to re-clear Machine Room if they do end up wanting to go into B.
Yeah, I really like that play, though, from ROC. Like, again, just even though they're up to 2-0, like you said, that's a really good start for them. And then also just kind of putting the full aggression on it, right? So now 3P are kind of going to have to be a little bit more timid. They're going to be a bit more scared on what they want to go for. They're going to be a lot more hesitant. So this is really nice from ROC, just kind of playing some mind games, because, I mean, it's a kind of the one-on-one trade, sure, but at least they were able to get a decent player down already, one of the top fraggers here for 3P. So that's a good start. But you can see ROC have kind of reformed their defense a little bit more, just leaving the reliance of Totson here at this B site. Everybody else kind of in Woodroom, which is really interesting because 3P, like, I mean, they're definitely the eye on the prize is looking towards this B site. But the lurk here of Gainer could be important, and Horus actually just eats them alive. So now this is looking worse and worse here for 3P.
ROC are looking pretty locked in today, which is a pretty good sign going forward. You see no more matches this week. This is actually ROC's only game because they did play 3 last week. They'll have one next week on the final day of the regular season. That'll be against Swamp. But a good, strong finish for ROC if they do manage to clean up these matches. I mean, they had a 2-0 over TBI last week, a 2-0 over Anubis, and then a 2-1 over IC. Imagine they get the win here against PingPongPals, potentially even 2-0, and then probably a 2-0 over Swamp next week. That's a very good run into the playoffs, just in terms of momentum and confidence, I suppose, being the more operative conversation points for ROC at this stage. Back into the 3v3 though, and the A side has been taken. Bomb plan's going to go down. Bit of chip damage onto Snare there as well from Pietro, who was just lurking forward a little. And all of a sudden, this starts to look like it could be PingPongPals' first round on the board. We have some nades going back, but no real damage off of that one. It will be full retake attempt. That's a great trade from Snare. I was going to say a full retake attempt down the stairs. Hugely helped out by that shot from Snare. Thompson now is going to look to make the entry happen onto the side. He knows MKZ is ducked behind the pillar. Couldn't really dislodge him. And now Snare solo has no time to work with. And it will be PingPongPals that will be holding on for their first round. So 2-1 the scoreline. We have to start thinking about the possibility that PingPongPals have got us something to show here on Subbase.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, that was a really good play. Again, like, not in terms of just getting all the kills, but MKZ just staying alive in that position. That was so critical because time was very, very low, right? I think it's around that 15-second mark. So the fact that he could kind of, tuck behind the wall, stay alive, definitely makes it way more of a better situation. That really just secured it, and in my opinion, for 3P in that round. But again, ROC, like, this is where we talked about. They've been able to show that they have some good mixed plays. They have the aggression. Some of these retakes can be really, really nice as well. But like we said, they've been able to get studied. Everybody's put the target on their back. They've been really just watching them, analyzing them to figure out how do they be able to maybe take a victory from them if possible. We saw that a couple weeks ago where InnerCircle really pushed them to the full end degree of a 3-map series. But we'll see if 3P got anything in store, and maybe we've taken some notes from that series as well. And you can see that ROC, again, are putting a lot of presence here towards Woodroom. They're putting some pretty good pressure on this, just, again, keeping 3P on their toes. And then with that, they're just going to reconfigure the game plan. Like, this is really, really nice. This is just kind of rotating the defense as much as possible, which I love to see, because they're being active. They're not just kind of sitting still and holding the same spots. They're really just trying to mix things up and make it more problematic for 3P on their bit of a guessing game.
Oh, snap. And you've seen MKZ there just jumping back and forth over the doors. He'll wait patiently for a little tag. So, connection onto MKZ, but not a finishing blow. I was going to say the one issue with, trying to counter-strat ROC too hard or looking at what they're doing and trying to deal with that is that it's all well and good. You can put in all of your prep and feel like you've got a good game plan coming in, but sometimes ROC just shoots you in the face harder than you can shoot them in the face, and that can be something you can't really do much about. Certainly not on the day. Slayer here. Displaying just that. Nice spray down. Hits himself a lot of damage there and finishes off Gainer as well. That's an easy round from ROC. Very easy, in fact. That didn't even look like it was anything, unfortunately, from PingPongPals.
Yeah, it really didn't even feel like they were breaking a sweat. Like, it just felt so easy, right? And 3P kind of going into a bit of a meat grinder and just really just kind of didn't really show much of a fight in that round, which was a little bit odd. But now it looks like they're going to try to go a little bit harder and faster onto this locker room. And oh my goodness, it's just ROC again, man. They just put up the wall and nobody's going to pass it.
Yeah, and I don't know that any other team is necessarily going to be able to do that in the same way, right? Like, how often do you see ROC hold positions where they barely lose a player, maybe lose one player, or maybe none? It happens a lot. There's a lot of these rounds where ROC have got 4 or 5 alive, and you've just been stopped at the front door, basically. But maybe with Gainers opening here onto the A bomb site, there's a little chance for them to walk out. Snake's going to have a little bit of a look, and he gets taken down as well. HK doing some real work. And shoes on the other foot this time around, it seems like. PingPongPals have showed up to this round, and ROC have not.
Yeah, and oddly enough, like you said, it's one of those situations where a lot of teams are not going to be able to just like make these kind of like individual plays, like really getting away with that. Like, this round is looking like it definitely could be the case, but it's kind of that one-off, right? And you could see that Gainer just putting himself with the double entry. That was huge. He was able to find a multitude of kills. Now making this a little bit more problematic for Snare and Slayer, but it's still not an impossible situation. Not looking great as now, and it puts a lot more reliance here for Slayer. He's already in the BL spawn, and he's given away his position. So now 3P really should put themselves in the perfect positions. There we go. I was just going to say the post plant should be secured, and then they can just reposition as much as possible. But honestly, nice round from 3P, but again, they cannot rely on these like hero plays and somebody to, you know, just run around guns blazing to get themselves opening rounds like this. It's a nice thing to see, but again, we're going to need a little bit more out of them if they want to be competitive in this.
Dotson solo holding lockers this time. He doesn't have that sniper presence of Slayer at the moment or Snare. Both more concerned about Jail. Hasn't taken the contact just yet, and that swing will start to come through from Snare. So if PingPongPals delay, they so far have, then there's going to be some more presence put in this direction. The smoke might cause a bit of a problem for that, though. Dotson will be flashed for a second there as well, but he's not interested in really moving here. He just wants to hide behind that smoke for now. Actually crosses over as Slayer starts to help out from the vent position, and they're going to re-clear lockers very quickly. Dotson sets himself up behind the box. This is big. PingPongPals are not aware of it, and if they re-aggress into lockers, they're not going to be thinking that Dotson has this position.
Oh, 100%. That's really good analysis you bring to it, because again, like his just reposition is just created so much of a better opening here for ROC. There's no way, there's no reason for them to have to clear that angle anymore. They thought they've done it. So if they try to go these double players into locker, this is going to be problematic. This is going to be a disaster right now. But is that going to be the case? I mean, the bomb's still in the back here. Nobody's really committed to the plan. They're kind of looking like they want to find a pick. They want to do something. And Dotson does try to get a little bit over antsy on this. And now he can reposition. He can get out of there. 3P are not even going to entertain the idea of going towards this B site as of right now, unless we can see something differently from Gainer again, putting himself in the position where he might try to look for a little bit of a duel. We'll wait and see. 37 seconds though remaining. This is starting to get a little bit low on the clock. This is where they have to make a play now. They got to do something quick. They cannot wait any longer.
Yeah, they're going to go B. This is definitely going to be a B finish, but they've already lost MKZ, and now they're pushing through a smoke into locker room. Dotson going to try and hold on to that, but recognizes he's alone, so we'll just back off, wait for HDZ, round a safer corner. Gets that job done. Dotson, nice double. Great anchor work from him. Brings it down to just Gainer in that 1v3, and he'll be run down by Snare, so excellent hold again from ROC, and PingPongPals, you know, you can see the problem there is that they take that locker room control, then they concede it, and allow Dotson to take up the position once again, which really just causes so many problems for them when they try to re-aggress. And this is, again, another thing that I've spoken about with regard to CrossFire and how that territory has been taken. Neo and I was sort of discussing this yesterday, that BL sides often, they like to take that territory on the map, but then all 5 of them leave and go to the other side of the map and give up the territory straight away. And then how do you know that you've still got that control? You don't at that point. And that was a bit of a problem there for PingPongPals. Maybe should have left someone dropped off in lockers if they knew that they were going to go back in that direction at some point. 1 for 1 to start this round off, by the way. Snake and Slayer going ahead and getting involved respectively for ROC. Gainer and Pietro now down, even despite some good damage done from PingPongPals onto this GR side. They are down on numbers.
Yeah, and again, with like lots of time still on the clock, but like you said, like they're gonna have to work for some real estate right now, and this is even more of a difficult situation considering, you know, ROC are going to allow them to have wood room. They're going to be able to even slip through the doors if they want to, but ROC are ready for it. Like, this is a bit of an ambush. Like, this is a full setup right now. Horus is low, though, so this is the kind of the opening that could be here for 3P. They get it. Now Snare, again, he's critically low, but he has to be able to find these shots. If he can burn the time with a little of that utility, it can help, and that's a good shot already. Bomb's going to get dropped. He tries to reposition. I don't know how he gets away with that double kill. He should have been dead, and man, oh man, he saves the day again for ROC, putting them in the best prime position, and they get themselves an additional 6th round here.
Yeah, very, very poor looking half here from PingPongPals. We need to be getting more done on the BL side of sub-base, and unfortunately that seems like wishful thinking at this stage. One more round to go. Best case scenario, you get 3. It's not really enough. Every chance that ROC gets up to 7 as well. It's kind of what it's looking like we're headed towards. ROC start well, courtesy of Horus, so start to reinforce that story that maybe 7 is on the cards.
Yeah, desperate right now for that round, and HDZ starting to get a little bit moving here with the sniper if he can, and that's what I was kind of talking about. Him and Gainer definitely have to be these players that really kickstart something here for these guys. And if they can get the third, that might not be a bad way to get themselves over to the GR side, but boy, oh boy, that's going to be a long road for them. But we'll wait and see. Good aggression right now from Horus. I thought he was maybe going to commit to this. Oh, maybe he will. He's got the smoke. He's ready to go. He's lined up. This might be about timing. Oh my goodness, Horus! Horus! What on earth is that?
That was crazy. Just out of absolutely nowhere. We got to get a replay of this. This was an ace, right? He got all 5. He did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, yeah, he's just fun. That's insane for Horus. Anyway, 7-2 is the scoreline in that first half. So it's looking pretty grim for PingPongPals right here. Given that ROC is moving on to BL side, you'd expect that they should be able to close this out pretty comfortably.
Yeah, like you said a bit earlier on, like it just feels like they're locked in. They really are just playing a solid game right now. Yeah, it is their pick. We know that. But like we said, we've seen them on this map before. It's always been a little bit like just kind of lopsided at times for me. Like I've never been fully convinced them on this map. Like I know they can get the W's, but it's always felt like really labored. But right now, I mean, a 7-2 is a fantastic score. So we'll see if they can kind of, you know, how much they can close the deal. If they can. Now Gainer going to get tested. So now everybody's just going to flood on in. ROC easily take over the site. Now Pietro has to do something big, and unfortunately, it's only a 1 bite that he's able to find. And now 3P, they're in a retake.
Yeah, tough one too. Smokes are already up. It's 3 on 4. And PingPongPals aren't even really in position to start thinking about this retake. They've actually got to start trying to figure out, well, first of all, where are we going to go to start the retake? Because they've got window control, but they don't have wood control. So it looks like it's just going to be 3 players sent down the stairs here from window, and 9 times out of 10, that's not going to work, particularly when you got Snare on the other side of that engagement. Snake to help him out. And Tots in there as well, so very easy hold. All things considered for ROC. They get it done.
Dang. Oh, dang. All right. Well, an 8-2. Getting closer and closer to this map being kind of over with. But now, I mean, it just makes me kind of wonder if maybe, you know, 3P might try to do something a little bit different now. Maybe they might try to, you know, change the rhythm a little bit if they can and up the tempo in some way. They just got to do something with a bit of a mixture of ROC. They're the ones that are actually putting all the pressure. And now Pietro, great shot. He actually is able to follow up with it. So that's going to be the bomb dropped as well. So this is actually looking like a decent round potentially here for 3P. Bomb's going to be, you know, slid other way here from Snake. So this is actually a nice little bit of movement from ROC because now lots of time on the clock. They can take their time on this. They don't have to kind of over push onto anything. Now this is a little bit more of a scary situation for 3P because if someone like HDZ just on the other side of this gets caught, it could be scary. But even right now, Gainer, I don't know if he has an idea that they could be in jail. This is actually really scary. He's going to get timed. He's absolutely going to get timed, and now they got a free site.
It just goes from bad to worse. Headshot from Slayer. And MKZ now left solo. They're not exactly sure where he's coming from. Haven't seen him just yet, but Slayer really keeping a keen eye on that jail position. And Snake coming across to reinforce the hold from Lock as MKZ now has been allowed out onto the site, but spotted by Slayer. Info's given, and Slayer's not shying away from that fight. So that'll be another round for ROC, and looks like we're shaping up for a very comfortable first map win.
Oh, this is looking like it could be a quick day here for sub base right now for ROC, and honestly, good performance. But right now, 3P finally giving us a little bit of something. The snipers are starting to move around a little bit. They're starting to sing a little bit more. This is really, really nice. But is this going to be enough for them? Oh, you can see Slayer. He's actually looking for the perfect timing for this vent drop. He actually might be able to find it. Pietro's not even jump spotting this. He's not even prepared for this. Oh, he's actually just going to drop from the sky. Oh my goodness, Slayer! Oh, that timing, that is so unfortunate for Pietro. So now it's a question of Gainer's going to be prepared, and he's not. He's just going to get removed from this equation. ROC are somehow, some way just putting up a huge fight. It was looking so good for 3P. It was a 5-on-3 at one point, and now this thing is turned all the way to a 2-2. And Slayer, he's just still going on mayhem.
That's going to go down on 8. Watson bringing that one across. And HTZ has been locked in jail by that smoke. Going to have to go through. He's just going to have to chance the fact that there's no one there holding it. He will be proven correct, but he does eat a bit of a chip damage from the grenade for his troubles. And time, of course, is ticking away from him, so he's going to have to get somewhat of a wriggle on. Once again, Solo trying to work his way down the stairs. Very unlikely to work here unless some missed shots come through, and ROC are just not missing shots today. So that's a super comfortable map win from them to start off day 2 of week 6. You couldn't really ask for much more from ROC.
Honestly, that was that's the kind of championship level team that we want to see, right? Like that's the kind of performance we want to see from a team like this, where they convincingly just can run through the map, they go through the competition, and that's kind of why we put them on the pedestal. That's why we said these guys were undefeated. It's performances like this when everybody's playing well, everybody's activated, everybody's contributing. This was a masterclass performance from ROC. Honestly, very impressive. It didn't look like there was really any weakness in this, but it does kind of make me worried here for 3P just because it wasn't their map pick. But again, they're going to have to show us a little bit of life here as we get ready for the second map. But look, we'll let the desk talk through this and kind of bring through a little bit of the analysis. So guys, take it away.
ROC Esports with a very, very fast first map. I mean, we were talking about whether ROC Esports would take it seriously or not. This is definitely an answer.
Yeah, well, especially that it's coming into Subbase, which is one of their best maps. And yeah, PingPongPals, they tried. They started very, very slow a bit. But then it was 2-0. They won a round. Todzen had a miss on the guy on the A side. We said, okay, might be PingPongPals round. And then they be able to win it. But after this round, everything changed.
Yeah.
First half, I guess first half was 7-2, and that's it. PingPongPals, no answer. Their pushes all were destroyed by ROC Esports. Especially that Horus, I wanted to mention, this guy, he gave them no chance at all going into just close to the A side.
Yeah, and I feel like ROC Esports on sub-base, like in the global risk side specifically, they have a lot of like cheesy angles that they always hold, and it feels very hard to play as Blacklist against ROC Esports in this map. And like for PingPongPals, I feel like they were not there mentally, and like Laz said, they didn't show signs of life in the game, but like they need to show us something on the second map. But like, how do you recover from this? Because like I feel like getting stomped on the first map, it 100% affects your mental, even if you are 3.
Well, PingPongPals got used on losing the first game. So, they usually lose the first map, they come back stronger. We've seen it also versus ROC Gaming, where they lost the first map, Compound, which a map that they won before 10-2 versus ROC Gaming, but still, they would be able to get back to their shape and not even only win the next map, but win the full series. So, PingPongPals, they just showed us that millions of times that they can lose the first map, but still they can come back on the second set, second map, and even win the set. So that's why PingPongPals, they lost Subbase. Yes, we mentioned that Subbase is one of the best maps for ROC Esports. So it's not a thing that should affect their mental, because they know that they are playing one of the best teams on Subbase, and they know that they are playing the undefeated team as well. So you should not lose your mental at all, because you're not here to show anything except that how good are you. So now they're gonna be playing Compound, which is the map that they won before. It will be closer than a 10-2 as we can see, and Slayer Snake as we can see, they are 2.25 and 3.6. Okay, so PingPongPals, these KTs that PingPongPals have now, they had it the same exactly versus ROC Gaming the first map. Everybody was underperforming, they were not hitting the shots at all, and we mentioned that if you are not going to be hitting your shots today or tomorrow or any day in Crossfire, it's going to be very hard for you to win. But suddenly, just one map after this map from Compound yesterday, PingPongPals just changed completely, and maybe the guys are more warmed up. So now I guess PingPongPals, they're going to be going for the second set more warmed up, more maybe having better infights, winning some duels, winning the 1v1s, getting the clutches, also winning the clutches, because they lost a lot of clutches and they lost a lot of rounds that they have advantage on. Even we saw our 2v4 from Snake and Slayer, I remember. So now they need to be playing way, way, way better on Compound, because Compound is going to be kind of easier than Subbase for PingPongPals.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely showed that like 3P Subbase was not a map that they are like happy to play.
We don't usually see them playing Subbase.
Exactly. And like for Compound, they, like you said, they won it the last time. I mean, ROC Esports will 100% be studying more, will be ready. So like I want to imagine how the strats will be different from PingPongPals, and how the reaction will be from ROC Esports, especially that they are starting on the global risk side again. So do you think this is an advantage to go on the global risk side in a map that you might like you might not be knowing what exactly will the enemy team be doing?
Well, it's not definitely they know what they're doing. Both teams knows. So it's kind of some teams they like to play the hardest side first, so they can come back on the second half, and not to play the easiest side in the first half, because second half is going to be so hard for them if they messed up few rounds in the first half, which should be the easier. For example, if you are playing compound and you finish 5-4,